Earlier today, Lincoln Riley goes on The Herd with Colin Cowherd to talk about recruiting, in particular recruiting to USC. And he got a pretty fair question about what it was like for him to recruit players that played at Oklahoma, notably quarterback Caleb Williams, wide receiver Mario Williams, and cornerback Latrell Cutchin, in addition to, half of the Oklahoma staff. And the money quote from Riley is, look, we didn't take players from Oklahoma. We took players from the transfer portal. Now, I find that to be really interesting in the way that he chose to frame that, because if I'm the head coach at USC, I probably frame it similarly. As a matter of fact, nothing that he said in his answer is incorrect. The players chose to enter the transfer portal. They could be recruited by anybody in the country, and they chose USC, and USC wanted them. Now, this is really about loyalist and loyalty. This is something that I've written about at foxsports.com and wrote about at length when Lincoln Riley chose to leave Oklahoma for USC, and the inevitable began to happen. You saw the roster that was outstanding crumble. You saw the number one class in 2023 almost entirely go to USC and flip there. Because what it came back to was something else that Riley had referenced, which is we had built relationships with them. They had built relationships with us. What is not said in there is that relationship was built at Oklahoma, and perhaps you should respect that the player is at Oklahoma. Now, this is where I think everybody's going to get mad and everybody's going to get upset. Nobody owes your team a doggone thing. Nobody, period. I don't care that you went to school there. I don't care that you paid tuition there. I went to school there. I paid tuition there. But this is America. It's capitalistic. It means it's competitive. It means that you are worth what somebody says you are worth. And one of the reasons that Lincoln Riley is at USC is because he's worth more to them, and he thinks that they're worth more to him. Same thing is true in recruiting. Now, because of the transfer portal, everybody's in a tizzy because they no longer get to be lazy about their players on their team. As a matter of fact, as a college football fan, up until about April 2021, you got to sit back on your laurels during the offseason and know that your juniors were going to be seniors, the sophomores were going to be juniors, your freshmen were going to be sophomores, and you get to see the same dudes that you saw play as underclassmen play another year at your university. Now, your head has to be on a swivel, and you don't like it, okay? I'm telling you, tough. Adapt or die, all right? That's where I come down on this, man. If you don't like what Lincoln Riley is doing, beat him. Beat him. They did this at Alabama. They had this headset rule where they said you could only have so many headsets because he saw all these people at Alabama walking around with headsets on, believing it gave them a competitive advantage. They changed the rules, and Nick Saban is still mopping the floor with people, okay? Georgia may have won a national championship, but check the receipts. Who's winning most of them? University of Alabama, who, by the way, when I was in college, wasn't about nothing till my junior year of college. When I was in high school, nobody thought about the University of Alabama. You are building relationships with people. You're not building relationships with inanimate objects that have insignias like Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma has a sizable fan base, right? Of which I am a member, reluctantly to some of them, to which I'm also rational about this. Look, man, nothing would make me happier than Oklahoma and USC playing head up in the college football playoff. But I wanted that for Oklahoma and Ohio State a couple years ago after the flag game, and I wanted it with Georgia after the Rose Bowl. It's what makes the sport go. So if you are actually getting into this and you're having fun with the rivalry that is, I'm here for it. But if you're taking it a step too far and you are throwing obscenities at kids and at coaches on Twitter like some sort of keyboard tough guy, miss me, man. You know, like that part I'm not here for because they're playing football. Coaches get an obscene amount of money to play football. The kids have 5 years to play 4. Wherever they choose to play them, I'm happy because I get to see excellence in the sport. It's a gorgeous thing. I get to see kids grow up right before me. There are kids that are reaching their 20s and early 30s now that I covered in high school, that I covered in 8th grade. It's one of the most rewarding parts of what I do is I get to see somebody go vote. I get to see somebody buy a house. I get to see somebody graduate. Or is that still not the most important thing to the most of y'all, right? Remember, this about school, right? And about money, and about NIL. Until it's your school. Nobody's mad at A&M about what A&M was able to do in 2022 because it's their school. If it was some other school, bloody murder. This is why Jimbo Fisher was right to be righteous in his anger about, wait a second, Nick Saban puts together the best recruiting class in the history of recruiting, and all y'all can say is Nick Saban's the GOAT, and then I do it, and I got to have a slush fund? Miss me with that. In that way, I feel him. How many people want to say that you have a leg up? And when you do have a leg up, when you don't use it, or when you do use it, I should say, people catch feelings. Lincoln Riley has relationships with all those players. Half of his staff has relationship with all of those players. If they want to be USC Trojans, more power to them. If you want to do something about it, recruit better. Because Lord knows when Lincoln Riley went to go get Jalen Hurts from Alabama to start over Austin Kendall, Oklahoma fans were all for it. When Lincoln Riley went to go get Kyler Murray from Texas A&M, Oklahoma fans were all for it. When Lincoln Riley and Bob Stoops took advantage of Baker Mayfield's dismay at Texas Tech, Oklahoma fans were all for it. I can keep going here, man. I can take it back to Justin Brown and Penn State. I can take it last year, Chris Murray out of UCLA. I can take it to Eric Gray at Tennessee. The hypocrisy is what I'm not here for. Now, do I think that Lincoln Riley is on the level of what he's saying? Yeah, absolutely. I do. I also understand why you are upset about it. But what I am not going to allow you to do is call that man being dishonest. The rules are the rules. He's better at playing the game than you. That's the end of it. Doses.